Hey everybody. So today is Thursday the 30th, 2026, July 30th, 2026. And I'm about to ring Bucks County detectives and inform them that after they told me last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever date that was, that the case is closed, it's been reviewed, there's nothing there. I was told if there was something new to bring to the case to give Detective Coolin a call. So after my phone call with Detective Coolin, he was more defending the court reporter instead of dealing with facts. He tried to say I wasn't there. I don't know better. I wasn't there, so how would you know? And he used words like that to me, like I'm not a I don't know protocol for medical conditions or the emergency care or for medical personnel. So he told me I was ignorant. But I do know for a fact that if a child goes to the hospital with suspicious or head trauma, uh, I've been told by good sources that the social workers will be called, and that is almost 100%. From what people I've talked to that who have been in the hospital or uh, people who have worked at hospitals, that their first concern is to calling child services to see, to make sure that the kids are well. So I know the protocol for the services, for the legal services. So if the call would have gotten that day, August 23rd, um, the the dispatcher would have asked questions, and then the police who arrived first on the scene would have asked questions, and then from in Yardley Borough where she's at, the police are closest than the ambulance. So the police would have been there first. They're only a half mile, three quarters of a mile down the street, maybe a mile down the street, and so they would have been there first for this type of injury, and they would have been the next ones to have uh, questioned the mom and find out what the details of the uh, the the call. So the police would have found out, and then the EMTs get there. They're going to ask you questions. They're going to ask her the same questions over and over again. Where was he at? What was he doing? How did this happen? And then another person is going to ask. Then when she gets to the hospital, they're going to ask, and then the doctor's going to ask. So they keep asking to keep the see if the story stays the same. So when they all come back together, at some point, they're going to check on the story. They're going to see if they got the same story all around. So, as I said before, it would have been about 8 to 10 people for that one day, and I feel as though even though I told that to Bucks, like they know the protocol. They know that that's what they do, and here I am telling them what they're supposed to be doing, and it's to give me a blanket statement without looking at the evidence is foolish. Um, I described to Detective Cullen that if you reenact the days, the events that happened to my son and what happened with there, so I said it doesn't make sense, and here's why it doesn't make sense. And it didn't hit me that day. I knew something the day I read that document that killed me. That I cried just about immediately the minute I read the um, the details of that. Doesn't walk yet. Hit his head and his ear. So that's two places where when he bounced, um, he passed out. He went limp. He eventually vomited. His eyes rolled back of his head. He cried. He It says on there, doesn't walk yet, pass out, breathing, breathing episodes or holding breath, some sort of episode where I don't know, I couldn't understand that. But it basically lays out. It says on there that he fell off the one step. It says one step. It says one step on there, and that always had bothered me a lot because I know that a 1/6 inch step is not going to cause that kind of damage. It's just common sense, okay? But because Bucks County wants to call me dumb and I don't know what I'm talking about and what I'm doing, I'm getting ready to call the Bucks County detective because I did some research with Google and I asked them, and um, I have the screen still opened up, but I asked how long does it take a five to hit 60 G's or 70 G's for impact for a concussion for a human head is about 70 G's. Um, uh, Amusement park ride are between 3 and 4 G's of force. So, in order to sustain a concussion as traumatic as his was, it had to be in the ballpark of 80 to 100, and which would have meant that he severely, when he hit his head, his skull, his brain not only hit forward, but it also hit backwards, or vice versa, whichever way. I don't know. I don't have the details of that, and that's why I tried to ask the detective for that information. But my point is that he asked me if there's anything new, and physics told me that he would have had to been at least 6 feet off the ground to have 25 pounds worth of him to have hit so hard to the ground that he passed out. So she said one step. He, and just letting you know too that they have blanket without question, without doubt, raised one concern whatsoever, other than telling me that I had called to report to child abuse. But what the detectives or what everybody's not understanding is that the mother reported one step. He fell off. I'm not dumb. I never have been. Well, that's not true. Stop. Um, Being insulted by Bucks County and telling me that everything was fine wasn't. It didn't sit good with me then. It doesn't sit good with me now because I'm literally going to want to call him and tell him that physics, along with a MRI, will help solve this whole issue. Um, so, with a traumatic brain injury of that nature for that long, there would be scarring on his brain, and the neurologist, when they do an MRI, would be able to see where the scarring is. So we'd be able to tell exactly what part of his brain. So that's really the crime scene, um, if you will. At this point, with Bucks not even entering into that, I've got to give two to 3 points, and one is the medical, is that nothing about that was handled appropriately. And then you have the lies and the details within the story that she told the doctor that he fell for one step, and then evaluating the crime scene, seeing getting him to get the MRI or CAT scan and see a neurologist and really image the brain and see where his problems lie and make sure that everything is copacetic and there's nothing that's going to be create an aneurysm or some sort of other neurological thing. I know that he does suffer from memory loss. I do know that. He had grown up on learn without focus, and that's another side effect of TBIs. And then he was misdiagnosed for his ADHD because that information of his TBI never got into the any medical records going forth after that day. So it's like it never happened. So because the mother failed to report all of that information, that's what FDIA is. That is, when that day happened, that never followed any of the psychological issues that he was having, and it was withheld from on purpose with the intent of failing his ADHD evaluation. She tanked his ADHD evaluation by not disclosing that information. Then she lied within it, saying she was a full time mother and a part time that I'm not even in his life. And the doctor actually says that, being separate doesn't have to cause such a hardship. Now, this is her making the report. The doctor's telling her. But anyways, my point is that the the there it is impossible for a 25-pound child to drop 6 inches at a rate so fast. He would Someone would have had to push his head into the ground for that to happen at 6 inches off the ground. So this is where it comes down to. So it it wasn't the steps that go from the first landing down to the basement, because I carpeted that. I had it all done real nice. If it's the same carpet from 20 years ago that I bought and paid for, so it wasn't down there. Um, how do you Both of her landings from her third floor to the first floor, um, that level has a partial landing, so it goes in the L shape, and it comes down the majority of the way, then it turns and it comes out. So he would have had to, if he did it from that floor, from the bedrooms side of it, or the living space, bedrooms up on the second floor, he would have hit the wooden bars that would have been from the top steps next near her bedroom, or in his bedroom, down. So he would have hit the bars, the wood bars first, coming down from above, and then it makes an L shape. So then he would have hit that and probably tumbled over and landed on the hardwood floor there. So you have that spot there, and then you have in front of her house. So once you step out the front door, there's concrete there, and that's only about a foot or a little bit over a foot drop there. So that can't be it. Then the same thing for her garage. When you go out of the hallway in the first floor, out from there to the garage, it's only like a 2 foot drop too. So it wasn't from there. Um, it could have it couldn't have been from her bathroom, because that's the same thing. That's like 2 feet. So wherever this happened inside of her home, it was quite a big distance, and he had to have gained momentum by this fall. So it wasn't just like her report makes it sound like he went boop and one 6 inch. She told herself, she told the doctor that he fell off one step. That's clear as day. It's right in the middle of the paper. The fact that he doesn't walk yet, still don't understand how he got away from her to be able to get to the stairs in the first place. That's again, we don't know if this is actual the truth or not. We don't. We This is only going by what the paper says. So I'm only speculating based upon what the paper says. So, but based upon her reporting, a 6 inch step would have been a lot. Um, it's impossible to have done in that fashion, the way that she described it to the doctor. So the question is, where in the house did it happen? What day did it actually happen? Because we don't know, we don't have a 911 call. We don't know exactly what day it could have happened. It could have happened the day before, and he was showing side effects of this. So the sad part about the entire event is that not only did he sustain that, not only did he not get proper medical attention for it, but then he didn't get post for it too. Then he got blamed for. Then they blamed they she created a ADHD situation, which is the same thing as kind of what's in side effects of a TBI. So she wanted to make sure that he had ADHD so bad. It was so important to her to get him to uh, be medicated and to drop her off because she wasn't involved with his life. So she needed him to be medicated. She needed him to be sedated. She used other medications all up to that point of being prescribed the false reading for ADHD. So technically, I don't think he had it, even though they got all the paperwork that says it. But the only issue is that you can't take him to CHOP to the specialist of ADHD management and say not tell them that he sustained a blunt force traumatic brain injury at 16 months old, which never was in the report. That is the epitome of FDIA. Not only did she not report it to that doctor, but she didn't do it to foundations, and she didn't do it to Dr. Wyckoff, and she didn't do it to the school. So it was like this TBI never happened. This day that I've been working on for 19 years, thanks to Bucks County, has been able to challenge me into knowing my facts and then doing the research behind it. So any mathematician or any physicist could be able to tell you that it's impossible to drop 1 inch or 6 inches and be at 70 G's. Neurologists can tell us how damaged his brain is. If it's minor, if there's nothing there, bless her heart. If the crime scene looks like a murder scene in his head, that's on her, but it's also on Bucks County because I've been saying since 2007, 19 years ago, he needs medical attention, and they didn't call back. So I'm going to give. So this is a gift to Bucks County. I have never what they've been confused about with me is that I have gone to them and said, "Here, I have information for you in 2007 and every often from that date." So I've been literally going to them and say, "Listen, I have all this information for you to help my son." And the only response I've gotten back is, "We're helping the mom. We're helping the mom. We're helping the mom. We're not going to help you. We're helping the mom. We don't care about the kid. We're helping the mom." So stop telling us about all this information. We don't care about it. We don't need to know any of it. We want to just put our head down and just pretend it never ever happened. Well, guess what? It did happen. And my son has certain rights. They've been violated. I have rights. They have been violated, all to protect a court reporter for God knows what reason. Heather asked me the other day, and I said, I don't know what's so important about this woman, but for some reason, nothing will. They won't. They won't. It's not that my information isn't valid, and I don't need them to validate what I have. I don't need them to. I've been offering as a partner with Bucks County to give them the information so that my son can get the help that he needs. If he wasn't having those issues of memory loss and confusion and having medical issues underlying besides that, then I would probably not be making the videos. But because my son still shows signs at this age of 24 of not comprehending what it means that he has brain damage because of a result that was not his fault, he deserves to know his status. So I'm going to reach out to uh, Detective Cullen and attempt to give him the last bit of information that I just got done explaining here. I want to make an attempt to have him uh, review the facts and let Bucks County make a choice.
You have reached the Bucks County Detectives. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911. If this is for the catalytic converter information, please hang up and dial 215-340-8899. All other calls, please leave a message. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press pound for more options.
Detective Cullen, this is Mark Edel calling. I'm calling because you asked for me to call you if there's any new information. I do. Um, just to let you know, it is physically impossible to fall off a one step of 6 inches and to get to the point of 70 G's of force to cause a concussion of that magnitude. So that means 25 pounds had to have dropped at least 8 feet or more to have sustained a concussion where he has lost consciousness and thrown up. So normal concussions are anywhere between 70 and 100. Uh, I hope that maybe you would examine the crime scene, that being Josh's brain that would solidify that. But it is physically your detectives who never looked at the case looked at that and said one step was equal to concussion. When a concussion happens with a force of 70 to 100 forces of G force to hit the ground. So I'm calling to give you the opportunity to and give you all the information, all of the doctors' information from all of the other doctors that support the FDIA and that there were the malicious things that were done. He is not in good health. He needs an MRI and CAT scan. And I don't want to embarrass the county by saying that, you're wrong, but you can't rubber stamp this and say nothing is there when the facts on the paper can be proven that they're wrong, especially with physics and science. So let's get this evaluated and let's do the right thing for him. He's my son is the one who deserves to know these things. He has a right to know that the system had failed him and that he needs to seek medical attention. And I hope that you see it that way. I don't want to uh, embarrass the county whatsoever, but if I can Google how long it takes for an object of 25 pounds to reach a maximum G force of 70 to 100 Gs, then I can fight this in court and I can help you win this case. And that's why I called in 2007 and so on, so we can help my son. So you have my number. I'm not going to leave it on now, but I hope to talk to you soon. And I hope that you can reconsider reviewing the facts and to see if they actually make sense because you're telling me that they do, and I'm saying that they don't. And if they don't, then we an impasse. But let's resolve this. 19 years. 19 years. It just, I feel so bad for him. All the lies that were told, all the deception, how he got to what's happened. I mean, it's a mess, and I know that he has it documented about his behavioral issues all along, and really he was in trouble for everything and getting in trouble going to principal's office and being held uh, in trouble for all these things, and he just suffered a TBI that never got worked on. You know, they say the average traumatic brain injury costs about $100,000, anywhere between $100,000 and $400,000, if not more, for the care during and afterwards. There's a lot of therapies that have to go along with it to know what it is, but we don't know what it is. So he's not a statistic because that's never happened. I'm talking about stuff that's never happened in this woman's eyes and in the county that is supposed to help protect and serve that boy, not her. It's a little disappointing. It's it hurts because I don't care what they're gonna say about me. I don't care what they all the games that have been playing for so many. I don't care about that. As a dad, knowing that my son's hurting in his heart, um, knowing that he's probably has a lot of questions. He doesn't know the truth about a lot of things. Um, I've always been honest with him, and our relationship has always been very, very open and honest. And that's how I raised him for the first 10 years, in and out of his life, 5 or 6 times, in, out, in, out. I mean, just that alone tells you the insanity that goes on in this woman's head. But to lie and lie and lie and lie, but then to catch her and catch her and catch her and catch her, and then to be able to take this information and the hundreds and hundreds of pages that I've written and to use that to the better good is what I hope that I can bring to the medical field, to the legal field, to the judicial system, to doctors, to social workers, that people they discount this so much, or maybe just because she works for Bucks. But I feel like if she didn't work for Bucks, they would be begging me for information, which they have not. They did ask for it, and I obliged them, and then they arrested me, which is fine. But I'm on the other side of it, and only good can come out of this because that's what I believe, and this was my purpose to go through this. What comes out of it? Not there yet. Working on it, trying to finish this book, trying to let the appropriate authorities of this country that I love do their job or attempt to. It's been very difficult for that. I didn't realize that. I didn't know she was going to be working in the court system. I knew she was a freelance court reporter, but I never knew she was going to be in Bucks County. That was never on the radar when we first met. I never knew she was going to be going into this field of this kind of nature. It was a surprise to me. But once she got in there, everything that was up is down, and what's down is up. And it's been like the Matrix. Like there's a total different world that I'm used to. I'm used to people being kind of kind and generous and loving and honest towards each other. But I never expected to meet somebody in the law profession whose job it is to swear an oath of office, to swear to tell the truth, the whole that she has to take to have this job, but then to turn around on the backside of it, lie about everything for so many years. That takes talent. I give her mad props for that. I really learned a lot as far as, um, you know, listening to people and hearing their intentions or clarifying their intentions, or I've grown to feel more sympathy for her through the years because I know she's dealing with some sort of really deep-seated issues that are really dangerous, and I don't know what's stemming that. And that's what's kind of scary because at this point they're both alive and I'm alive, and because she has a protection of the county for now, and letting them take this route that I'm offering them. Uh, they don't want to take it, then that's not my fault. But that's kind of why I was waiting so long, because it hurts so much to try to say bad things about my country, about my government, but then they turn around and do all these shady things, and they never have been above board with me. Um, I didn't ask for special treatment, but this became a special thing for me. Like the minute they didn't call back, they didn't just hurt Josh, but that was offensive, and to have to wade through so many lies and bodies that are left behind because of this. Leo was first, and then she abused Josh, and then it was me, and then it was Bucks County. So the pattern is there. There's definitely my family, her family, people in my life. She's attacked my friends, my family. She had strangers attack me. I mean, these are not far off things, and all because I know the truth. And I think that's, when you see in the movies where the person knows too much and they want to get after them. Well, that's kind of how I feel. I've been attacked ever since I kind of discovered this by accident, and I was never supposed to have known this. And that's what's so hurtful about where I'm at today, is because none of this should have ever been discussed or talked about or even happened. If you didn't have anything to hide, you would have called 911, and that's the bottom line. I'm just bringing the light out. I don't like talking. I don't like making videos. I don't like. I mean, like this. I don't. This is not my thing. I shouldn't have to work this hard for a dad to get his son to get the help that he needs. He's 24. He can say he doesn't need any help, but he's 24. But the doctor said he was mentally 6 years younger than what he is. So he's 24 now. He's really 18 mentally. My nephews, who had seen him recently, can attest to that. He seemed very immature and very um, uh, like childish, not very mature for his age. I haven't had firsthand. I haven't seen him firsthand until since 2020, but before that, it's been years, and it's so heartbreaking to try to fight for somebody who doesn't want you to be in his life because his mom turned him against me, and I can't blame him for that. But then I also can't really listen to him because he's got so many neurological and other issues that are a problem. It's not supposed to be this difficult. I'm supposed to just be to call child services. They come over here. Let me give them a report. Let's talk about some of this stuff. Let's talk. Let's go. Let us have a going back and forth thing and say, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. Like I'm doing now with the detective. That never happened. I was cheated from that. But Josh was cheated from that. And that's what hurts. I don't care what happens to me. I'm an adult. I can take care of myself. The boy needed help from the beginning from the person who was supposed to give him emergency medical care, and he never got it. But then lied about his custody a month before. But then stole him and kidnapped him from me the next month, and then these weird things happening. It's not normal. It's not right. Um, I'm not looking at the past, but I'm trying to explain that this is my reasons for getting online and to telling this story is because he needs love and the truth and to love him, but I can't. So until that day comes, I'm gonna keep it going. I'll try the detective tomorrow. Hopefully he'll call back. But if he doesn't, we'll go from there. But at least I left a voicemail that they're all going to get and listen to. Hopefully, they will take my offer for me to sit down and show them everything that I have. Whatever gets me closer to Josh, whatever gets him to the hospital quicker, I don't care. That's what we need. That's how I feel. Be blessed today. Tell somebody you love them, even if it's a stranger. Be kind, everybody. It's free. There's no app for it. There's no downloading it. There's no redemption for it. You can't collect points for it. Only good points. So don't forget, we have each other. So why don't we just make it a little easier for each other? Help each other out. We're all in this together, right? Be blessed.